All right, good evening, members of the media, and welcome to our post-game press conference. We're currently joined here on the dais by head coach James Franklin of Penn State, along with two student athletes, Drew Allar and Nick Singleton. We'll start with opening remarks from Coach Franklin. Coach Franklin?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank our fans for the support that we got all year long. Was phenomenal. Could not be more proud of these two young men that are sitting next to me and really all those guys in that locker room. We played our tails off tonight and really played our tails off all season. Obviously, we need to give Notre Dame and Marcus a ton of credit. They did a great job. We knew it was going to be a fourth quarter game and come down to a possession. And that's exactly what happened. So give Notre Dame a ton of credit. I wish them the best of luck moving on to the national championship. But I love every guy in that locker room. I love every person in that locker room. Proud of them. Played our tails off tonight. Obviously, we made too many mistakes that were costly. So give Notre Dame credit, and we'll learn from this, and we'll be better. Open it up to questions.
All right, we're going to first start with questions only for our student athletes, and we'll have just a few minutes of questions with them. Then we will open it up for questions from Coach Franklin. So now we'll open it up for questions for our student athletes. If you have a question, please raise your hand. A microphone will be brought to you. Please state your name and affiliation before asking your question. So the first question is right here.
Yeah, Johnny McGonigal, Penn Live. Question for Drew. Can you just walk us through the interception?
Yeah, I mean, I was going through my progression, got to the backside, and honestly, I was just trying to dirt it at his feet, but I mean, I should have just thrown it away when I felt the first two progressions not open just because of the situation we were in. But I was just trying to dirt it at Amari's feet, but just didn't execute what I was trying to do.
Question to our left.
Daniel Gowan, Lions 24/7. Drew, can you evaluate your performance tonight? What worked and what they might have done to make things more difficult?
I mean, we didn't win the game, so it wasn't good enough. I mean, I think it's plain and simple. So I'll learn from it. Just do everything in my power to get better from it and just grow from it.
Our next question. Right here.
Question for Nick. You had a 3-touchdown performance. Just thinking about where you played at this year. I know you're a junior, but I know the national championship game is next year down here in this stadium. Have you used that as motivation just to get back here in this same location for another chance?
Yeah. Really, I don't even know yet what I'm doing next year right now, but I'm worried about being with Drew, Coach Franklin, all my teammates right now, just spend the time, because, again, it's not going to be the same team as last year. So whenever that happens, it happens. But right now I'm enjoying the time with my teammates.
Question to the left.
Audrey Snyder with The Athletic. Drew, what did this season mean for you to kind of become the vocal guy, one of the leaders on this team, and what have you maybe learned about yourself during that process?
I learned a lot about myself, and I think it's a credit to the coaching staff for just allowing me to be me. I think I grew a lot on the field, off the field, so just looking forward to continuing to grow, learn more about myself, get better in any way I can, on the field, off the field. So I'm just looking for the opportunity. I'm definitely going to learn from this, but, yeah, I'm just going to learn from it and, move on and take it on the chin right now.
We're going to have two more questions for our student athletes. Our next question. Right here.
Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. Drew, I know third down was big on both sides of the ball. What did you see them doing, or why was it so hard to convert those third downs tonight?
I mean, coming into the game, I think they were. I don't know what they were, but they were definitely one of the top defenses in the nation in terms of just third down conversion percentage against them. But I think it came down to just executing. I thought we had a really good plan. I thought Coach K and the offensive staff had a really good plan for normal downs, third down, and red zone. But I missed a couple throws on it, so it comes down to just execution. So I mean, a credit to Notre Dame for making it tough for sure, but I think if we just execute those moments, that we would have been put ourselves in a better position. And it starts with me, hitting some of those throws.
One more question for any of our two student athletes. Okay, we're going to allow them to head back to the locker room. Again, realizing the game was very tough, and it's very tough on them to be here with us now, but we appreciate them coming and joining us, and we're going to allow them to leave now at this time, and then we'll have questions directed to Coach Franklin.
Proud of you guys. Love you.
Oh, you go.
Sorry.
All right, we'll have questions for Coach Franklin right here. In the back, and then we'll get to you. I'm sorry.
James, you guys game cranked up in the first half, second quarter especially. Did they do anything to maybe slow you down in that area in the second half?
No, I mean, I think your point is a good one, right? The two biggest points of the game are, in my opinion, what you guys just brought up. Third down, we weren't effective enough on third down, and then the middle eight. That field goal right before the half was big. We almost had a chance to have a fumble recovery right there off a strip sack. And then to open the second half with them going down and scoring a touchdown and us going 3 and out. Those things, that was significant in the game. You looked at Notre Dame when we studied them. They were one of the better middle 8 teams in the country. So were we. But that was a major factor in the game. And then on top of that, I would say big plays. Just we'd make them earn it. We'd make them earn it. We'd make them earn it. And then they'd capitalize with a big play, which is again. Something that we've done really well all year long is making people earn it. And they had a good plan. Give their coaches a ton of credit. Their players made plays at specific times. But that was probably the two biggest points in the game from my perspective.
Question down front.
Bob Flounders, Penn Live. James, I know it's a tough loss. You asked a lot about the offense. Just your thoughts on what Abdul Carter was able to do in this game. Obviously, he wasn't 100%, but he was out there a lot, and he was very disruptive, and also denied Dennis Sutton against the run and against the pass. He made one of the most incredible plays to kind of give you a chance to win the game. Just those guys overall and your defense overall.
Yeah, those two guys are warriors, and they've been warriors all year long. Abdul, I'm really proud of him. He gutted it out today, showed tremendous mental and physical toughness, and was disruptive in the game. And denies a guy that really's done everything right since he stepped on campus. And to see him be able to make some big plays tonight at critical moments was huge. Really gave us, a chance to go win that game. So proud of our offense, proud of our defense, proud of our special teams. But the two guys that you signaled out, they deserve a ton of credit, and really not just tonight, all year long.
On our left.
Tyler James from Inside ND Sports.
Hey, Tyler.
You didn't have any completions to wide receivers tonight. What was Notre Dame doing defensively that made that so difficult?
Yeah, we tried a couple early on in the game and weren't able to convert them. Tightly contested coverage. They're a man coverage team. But yeah, that's a storyline of the game. That's one of the storylines. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But early on, we had some throws, tightly contested balls that we didn't come down with. So again, give them credit.
Question in the rear, please.
James, after the Ohio State loss, your players talked about wanting another crack, needing to handle their business so they would have a chance to play late into the season. What can you say about the player-led leadership of this team and what they maybe proved with a run like this?
Yeah, when you're talking about a 16-week season now that we have in college football, there's opportunities to bounce back from setbacks. Notre Dame, was able to do it, and we were able to do it. Kept getting better as the season went on, got better, especially the second half of the season. some big wins, some adversity that we were able to overcome, and the guys just kept battling. So I could not be proud of the young men in that locker room and the staff and how they represented Penn State in the Big Ten all season long. So they deserve a ton of credit. And obviously we would have loved an opportunity to get a win tonight and then be able to watch the game tomorrow night and figure out who our next opponent was going to be. But again, very, very proud of our guys.
On the left, please.
Yeah, James Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. You could see the emotion, obviously, on Drew's face. With everything that he's done for you guys, how do you think he'll respond, and what's going to be your message to him going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Drew is a passionate guy. He invests so much into his development, but also to his teammates and to Penn State. And he'll handle this like he handles everything else. With a first-class approach and with an investment level that's as good as anybody in the country. His jump as a year one starter to a year two starter was significant. He's got a chance to take another step next year. But he'll handle it the right way. He's hurting right now, right? Should be hurting. We're all hurting. You know, this ain't easy to get in here right after the game and have a conversation after you just poured your guts out on that field and really did it all year long. So, you know, he'll handle it great. He'll be hurting tonight and he'll be hurting tomorrow and he'll hurt a little bit less the next day and so on and so forth. But he's a committed guy that's going to do it the right way, and he said it. It may not feel like it right now, but he'll learn from this and he'll be better for it, and so will we.
Mr. Roden?
Yeah. Hey, James. Bill Roden from
Hey, Bill.
ESPN Amsky. Just, I know you've got a lot to unpack, but I'm just wondering how you feel. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, and you get this close, play a great game. Do you ever get just how do you feel just as the head coach?
Yeah, I wanted it for the guys. Like, you know, I wanted it for our players. I wanted it for the staff. I wanted it for Pat Kraft and Neely Bendapudi, who've been awesome. And I've been doing this long enough to know when we have the support from our athletic director and president. That's been phenomenal. So I wanted it for them. But most importantly, I wanted it for the guys in the locker room and the staff. So that's as you can imagine, there's 1,000 different emotions going on and feelings. But as the head coach, I got to put on the right face for the guys in the locker room for what they need right now, and for my family. And the sun will come up tomorrow, and the one thing I want to make sure that all those guys do is walk out of that locker room with their heads high and their chest out, because they have a ton to be proud of. There's about 128 teams that would give their right arm to have the season that we just had tonight, that we just had this year. So, doesn't feel that way right now, but there's a ton to be proud of.
On our left, please.
James, along those
Daniel.
lines, how you doing? When things change in this era of college football so quickly, and next year will look vastly different than things do right now. But when you look big picture, this type of season to be at this point in the year for your program, what do you think this does in the big picture for Penn State to be at this point in the season?
Well, obviously, it was a tremendous experience for our guys, and they know they can play with anybody. And there's a lot of young guys in that locker room who played. There's a bunch of young guys that just were able to experience it. It's an experience that they'll remember for the rest of their life, this season and how it went. And there's going to be a ton of guys coming back for next year that are going to be hungry and are going to be motivated for more. They've gotten a taste of what this feels like, and what it looks like, and what it smells like, and we'll all be better for it, including myself. we'll be better from this experience because there's so many guys in that locker room that have a chance to come back and use this as fuel and experience to get back here next year and the years after that. Game season or a 3-game season or whatever it may be. But we didn't approach it that way. It was a 65-play season. Average 65 plays on offense, 65 plays on defense, and about 27 on special teams in a game. And how you approach and treasure those 65 plays gives you an opportunity to play another 65 plays. And that's the hard part, right? Like Tyler Warren, you know, big gangly kid from Virginia that we recruited as a basketball player and was committed to another school, quarterback, and he shows up here and, you know, will go down as one of the greatest tight ends in college football history, you know. Pretty cool to watch his total development. Graduate from Penn State, just get better. You know, he should be the first tight end taken in the draft. Just had a phenomenal experience, right? And I'm proud of him because he's up to like 27 words at Penn State. He hasn't really said anything. You know, Devon Elise, you know, didn't want to come off the field. I've been with, you know, Devon's been playing for us for 6 years and 2 years recruiting them and knowing all these guys' families and their moms and dads and brothers and sisters. That's the hard part, right? Like that to me is what it's all about. I mean, I love the winning, and I know how important winning is at Penn State. Trust me, that's been made very clear to me time and time again. But to me, it's about the guys in the locker room, and it's about their development. I take so much pride in how our guys go about their business, how they grow, how they develop academically at a time in college football where that's being challenged. But I take a lot of pride in how our guys conduct themselves, how they carry themselves, the degrees they get, the type of men that they're going to be, the type of leaders, fathers. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know when I became the old coach, but I did at some point. But we got a throwback program with throwback uniforms, and I still coach them and love them. I guess like the dinosaur I've become at some point. I don't know when that happened, but to me, it's about the guys. It's about the guys and their development. So I want them to get drafted as high as possible. I understand the transfer portal is a part of college football now, and NIL is a part of college football, and we'll embrace those things too. But I want this experience to be so much more than a transactional experience. I want it to be transformational. So, again, you know, that's what it's all about for me. So,
Our final question on the left.
Thank you.
James, your first scoring drive, you guys got down to the 4 but had to settle for a field goal. What went wrong that you guys weren't able to punch it in there, because you guys were able to punch it in when you got close to the end zone later in the game?
Well, I don't need to talk about, you know, I'm not going to talk about specifically, obviously, you know, what happened on that play. But first of all, you got to give Notre Dame a ton of credit. Al Golden, Penn State grad, you know, you got to give him a ton of credit. We watched him on tape. We had so much appreciation for how they play defense, and they make you earn it. And we had some opportunities that we didn't capitalize on, and we'll go back and watch the tape and struggle with it and be upset because there's things that we could have done better. But again, it's the game of football is about execution. You know, you call your defense, you call your offense, and whoever executes it better on the specific play called, they have success on that play. And the more plays you put together like that, the better. They got a ton of talented guys on scholarship as well, just like we do. And we came up just a few seconds and a few inches shorter than they did. But to your point, I mean, I think in games like this at this point of the season, everybody wants to pick out a specific play. There's probably 8 to 12 plays in that game that if we could have found a way to make a few more plays in that game, I mean, we're that close, right? It's a game of inches. So I'm not going to, call out or talk about specific plays or specific players, because there's a ton of plays that we're going to look back on it from that game that we could have did better, and that we should have did better, and that we could have called better. So it's all of it, but it starts with giving Notre Dame credit. That's a good football team. We lost to a good football team that's led by a good man. I don't know Marcus very well, but he's a class act after the game. One of my good friends, Jared Parker, worked for him. He thinks he's the best. Thinks he's a great guy. So if you're going to lose to somebody, I don't want to lose anybody, to be honest with you. But you got to give Notre Dame credit, and I know Marcus will do a phenomenal job, and I'm happy for him and their university.